Hey everybody, what's it Fox Gaming here. So I've got a brand new PvE build video for you today. This is the Headhunter build that I put together. It is my understanding that this talent, Headhunter, is basically meta at the moment for PvE for sort of your more difficult content like, you know, heroic, legendary and raids. And the purpose of this video today is to see if it is viable for somebody like myself who A, is a console player, and B is you know, of relative average aim. I don't have the best aim in this game, and I understand that the Headhunter talent relies on you landing sort of consistent headshots. And you know, that's not sort of anything against the console community as a whole. I just know that for me personally, my aim has always been considerably better on M&K, on mouse and keyboard, and I kind of feel like that's the general consensus. But you know, either way, this is just the purpose of this video is just to very quickly explain what the talent does and the build that I've got. And this build is really easy to put together, by the way, and then sort of run into a mission a little bit blind, really. I've tested this build out in sort of pretty much 1.5 mission and in the firing range, just to sort of get a feel for how it is and damage and so on. So yeah, this is kind of going in a little bit blind, but that's the point. I want to see if it's reliable, if I can consistently land those headshots and keep the damage up, or actually if my other legendary build, my chameleon build, will just be better for myself and potentially other players like me. I will link that AR build, the chameleon build, in the description. You know, I hit 2 billion damage in a legendary DUA with that, so I know for a fact that that works incredibly well. But you know, it does seem like the community is gravitating towards Headhunter. So, perfect Headhunter. I've actually been able to get the named piece here. Now, we have started Season 2. I sort of went through the rewards yesterday in a previous video, and you do get this as part of the Season Pass. Quite late on into it, admittedly, but I was lucky enough just to get one of these to drop beforehand. It is just in, you know, it's in the targeted loot pool now, so you can just farm Walker and Harris or chest pieces and get this. So the way that Perfect Headhunter works is after killing an enemy with a headshot, your next weapon hit within 30 seconds deals an additional 150% of that killing blow's damage. So essentially, if you kill somebody with a headshot, and I'm using snipers for this, and it does, let's just say, I don't know, 5 million damage, the next shot would end up doing essentially 7.5 million damage. And what it does each time you get a kill is it calculates the 150% of that killing blow's damage and applies it to your next shot, so it keeps on going up and up. And the only time that it stops going up is, well, two reasons. One, if you just wait for the 30 seconds to run out, you'll see the little timer next to your health bar. Or two, if you land a shot that doesn't kill an enemy as a headshot. So if it's just a headshot that doesn't kill them, if it's a body shot that doesn't kill them, if you just apply damage to anything, then you will lose the buff. But you can just start again. So how high that buff can go is dependent on this second part just here. I didn't quite understand this at first until I tested it, so yeah, I felt a little bit stupid when I tested it out, because actually it does seem really easy to keep going, but I don't think this description is worded quite as well as it could be. So damage is capped at 800% of your weapon damage, so essentially you can't go higher than that. Now you can, if it's you have headshot damage of greater than 150%, it is then raised to 1250%. So each time I get that killing blow, it will take 150%, so basically half of that damage, and add it on top. It will apply that to the next headshot, and if that's a kill as a headshot, it just keeps reapplying it up to 1250. Now, hitting that 150% headshot damage is really easy. I decided to run with the White Death for this. I've seen quite a few videos of Headhunter, and a lot of people seem to be gravitating towards the 1886 or just rifles in general, but I wanted to go down the sniper rifle route here. You know, I'm not saying that my build is unique to other content creators and clan members and so on, because it's not. It's pretty much the same. There's not too far you can deviate from this. But ultimately, I went for the White Death because it's a named classic M44 sniper rifle, I believe. And the talent here, the unique feature is it gives you 137% headshot damage. You combine that with the sharpshooter class that gives you 15%, and you've already hit your 150%, so you don't need to worry about headshot damage really and anything else. But even with that in mind, I still run 3 pieces of Providence, because the first piece includes 15% headshot damage. 2 pieces of Air Roldy, because again you get the 15% headshot damage, and of course the name chest being a Walker Harris and Co, that's in there as well for the 5% weapon damage. You could run this with aces and eights, you could run it with 1 piece of Providence and some other stuff. It doesn't really make a difference. you know, the reason that I sort of use these pieces mainly is because I already had them and they're really well rolled. So if you look at my stats, I've actually been able to get my critical hit chance and damage quite high, even though this is a headshot build. So my headshot damage is 226%, but my critical hit chance is 56, and my critical hit damage is 131. As is such a slow firing weapon, the carbine and the nemesis that I'm using, I felt that anything over 50% will be fine, because it's basically going to be every other shot that crits, and that's just going to boost your damage even further, even if you have to land a body shot. Yeah, it'll restart the talent, but it's still guaranteeing the kill if you're getting that critical hit. Skills doesn't really make a difference here. I'm going to run this solo, so I went for the survivable skills, the fixer drone and the reviver hive, but it doesn't really make a difference. And what I've been doing is I've been starting each encounter with nemesis, just because that does a lot more damage than any other sniper in the game, but it's obviously hard to land a shot if they're all moving around, so it's a good way to start an engagement when you haven't pulled aggro yet and they're all just stood still. You don't lose the buff from weapon swapping. I'm also running perfect vigilance on the backpack for the extra damage, because for the most part I'm in cover. Now to keep my critical hit chance up, I run the C79 scope on the White Death. I'm not really a big fan of having two scoped weapons. I've got to lose that, haven't I? So yes, I can scope in, but of course if I were to use something like the digital scope from Sharpshooter, it automatically zooms in and you can't control that.
You can't let those munitions be distributed. You saw what they did to the castle.
Yeah, so for this option, my main weapon of choice will just be a non-scoped White Death, but then I've still got the Nemesis, which of course scopes in. Let's go to that here. 9 million. Oh, got flinched up a shot there. 18.9 mil. Whew. Dirty headshot. 16 mil. That wasn't a headshot, so I've now lost the damage buff. Oh, I haven't. Wait, what? That was weird. It's still showing the damage buff. 11 mil. So yeah, as you can see, it is easy to miss shots here. I mean, you know, I'm sure a lot of people in the comments that be like, oh, what are you talking about, Fox? I land 21 million headshots every single time and it's easy, and, you know, fair play to you. You're obviously a better player than I am. But, you know, like I said at the start, this was the point of this video. I just want to see if this build is viable for an average player, such as myself. Because if it's not, then it's pointless wasting your time playing it. And you might want to consider the chameleon build instead. Well, maybe not pointless running it, that's a little bit unfair to say. It does, since I've been practicing with this, and I've probably got about maybe an hour practicing with this build, it has improved my aim, and I feel that running it with snipers is a better way to do that, because you've really got to take your time with your shots, as you only get 5 or 6 in the mag. There's no rushing, you can just pop in and out of cover and take your time with your shots.
Got to get those shells on the train.
So, you know, that's why this has really sort of improved my aim. Force him to come out of cover. Ha! That turret's shooting down the explosives on the train for me. Nice, thank you, turret. This guy's run up to the top. Okay then. Strange. Ah, missed the shot. Just trying to be really careful not to hit that explosive barrel there and blow myself up. I have done more stupid things before. Ooh. So yeah, this is where the build I feel falters level, when you're a little bit under pressure. Like you've got rushes coming up to you. You can't really afford to miss your shots. That there is where you struggle. I mean, admittedly, this is a live commentary. I'm, you know, sort of doing this through a live Twitch stream at the moment, so that doesn't help my concentration. But that, like I said before, this is literally the point of this video. I just want to see if this is viable. And unless you can land consistent headshots, this build might not be the best choice. But if you take your time with it, it does work really well, particularly if you've got a CC guy on your team that can just blind everyone. I found that this was better solo than in group play as well, because for some reason in group play the enemies just seem more aggressive. I guess it's just how the AI is tuned. You know, they were just running all over the place, but here they seem to be a lot more passive. Oh, 22 mil headshot, nice. highest damage one yet. 21.8. Yeah, so it does do insane damage, and if you just take your time with your shots, it is fantastic. 22, 20. Oh, that missed. 16, that wasn't a crit. So you can see how the crits are really sort of boosting the damage there. That was a critical hit, but that was a body shot, which is why I've lost the damage buff now. You have to kill with a headshot to progress the buff through its next stage of damage. I'm not going to go any further into this mission, to be fair. I feel like I've demonstrated it well enough. I don't want to make the video too long. It was more just to sort of showcase the perk and advertise if it is viable for a relatively average aim console player such as myself. If you feel that's you, don't be pressured into sort of playing this build if you're running legendary content with your clan and like, oh, Headhunter's meta, you got to play it or we're going to kick you. Not true at all. Yes, you do a lot of damage, but I've already proven that you can use an AR build and hit huge damage numbers. And if you do want to make sure you're still outputting a lot of damage with a weapon build, then I will link, as I say, I will link that video in the description. But skill builds are so viable in legendary content at the moment. We just run 4 skill builders through all 3 of our legendary strongholds, and it's super easy. So again, I'll link the skill build that we use it in the description as well. So that's the end of the video, but thank you very much for sticking through if you did, and again I appreciate the continued support of the channel. Any likes and subscribes do go a long way for me. Please comment on how you play the build and how you personally feel it plays out for your own skill level. Does it work for you? Is it terrible? Yeah, I've been enjoying it so far. Right, I will see you in the next video. Peace.